Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another options and play video update. So I realized a couple days ago I talked about AMD in the sense that it was, a pattern that was to me starting to like change as it got closer to earnings because the stock was rallying so aggressively, right? So I was, talking about how the more stock rallies or the more it moves ahead of earnings, typically the less I like it. But during that video, I also mentioned that what was interesting about it on a longer time frame was like this monthly downtrend and how like the stock could potentially be resolving it if the numbers were good, it held in and it continued to work higher, right? Now, what made me think about it was um, the idea of trading like a longer time frame trade, right? Options expiration, selecting the right expiration is really, really critical, right? Having too little time, right? You can be out of luck if the stock, makes the move you want. Your options expired before it happened, or if the option, if your expiration is too long and you have too much time, it can really eat away at the profit potential, right? Because if you pay for too much time that you don't need, then that removes some of the upside because you're paying for all that extra time value, right? So getting like the expiration right is obviously really important. Now, when it comes to like trading like longer term setups, like one of the ways like I try to go about determining how much time I'm going to need is by measuring the average like say monthly move for a stock, right? So like what's the average trading range? So like using AMD, you would go back and say, okay, and acknowledging that different months will be more volatile than others, like what's like the average trading range on AMD over the last 6 months. So you would take like the low of the month to the high of the month, right? The high of the month to the low of the month, and you'd go back 6 months and you kind of average it out to get like a feel, because like some months will be quieter, some months will be busier. So if you go back about 6 months, you'll get a feel for like over a half a year, what's the typical move, right? So just hypothetically, I don't know the number off my head for AMD, but say AMD maybe moves about anywhere from like 10 to 12 points a month, which I know might be a little bit light in the current environment, right? But hypothetically, if it moves 10 to 12 points a month, right? If your target on a downtrend breakout, say, is 20 points, right? And the stock moves 10 to 12 points on average per month, okay? Quick math, how many months do you need? 2 months, right? Um, Usually, I prefer to err on the side of having a little bit extra time than a little bit less time, right? If you're targeting like a 25 point move, maybe looking at like 3 months, right? The stock moves 10 to 12 on average. Maybe you're going out a little bit more to have like an extra bit of cushion in case it doesn't move as much or as quickly as you expect, right? So that's kind of how I go about it if I'm looking at like a longer term pattern with like a more aggressive price target, right? Because when you talk about monthly setups or even yearly setups, typically your price targets are going to be a lot bigger, right? Or like a lot bigger percentage wise, point wise. So then you're going to need to like really reflect that with the option expiration you select, right? So that's one of the ways I go about it is going back, say 6 months, averaging like the typical move on a monthly basis, right? Get a feel for what the trading range is, and then depending on what my price target is, then I kind of get like a little bit of like a ballpark with how much time I'm going to need, right? Whether it's 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, or more, depending on how aggressive my target is. Okay. Um, we're wrapping up a busy week. AMD was one of the big ones this week, but there's plenty more coming like today and next week. So there's still a lot of earnings on the calendar, even if there's not many huge names left on the calendar. But I mean, I feel like with the CPI also due out next week that we're certainly not going to lack for action. Okay, so if you like this video and you're looking for more information about swing trading with options, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options and play. Have a great night, stay well, and I will talk to you